Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start this video by giving all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elders apostles, and elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Salutation, peace, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel, those who are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, awaiting on Yahawashi to come and deliver us, and pushing the word where the people hear and forbear. All right? So, Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson, and this is pertaining to the draft, because we're coming in a time of war. The war is prophesied in the Bible, and we're gonna go into it, right? Because at the end of the day, in Canada, I don't know for Canada, but Babylon, Lord willing, I speak as a man, but they're gonna set up a mandatory draft, okay, just as they done in World War I and World War II, to go to war. And you already know that these other nations are already preparing for such an event, as World War III. Okay, the children are being prepared how to disassemble and reassemble a gun. In China, I believe that was in China, and in Russia is already preparing drills for World War III, nuclear drills. All right. So these other nations on the other side of the world, they're already prepared mentally for what's about to come. But the mindset of these people here on the western side of the globe, it's not on that. These regular average Joe, they're not thinking about the World War III, and if they are, they're certainly not thinking that after this war is gonna be the war to end all wars. Okay, they're certainly not thinking about that. All right, so let's get started with Mark 13:7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not afraid, be ye not troubled, for such thing must needs be, but the end shall not be, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, kingdom and a kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in divers places, and there shall be famine and troubles, and these are the beginning of sorrows. It says here in 2 Ezra 16:17, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, meaning bad time. What shall I do when these evils shall come? When you go to verse 33, it says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husband. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helper. In the war shall their bridegroom be destroyed, and their husband shall perish of famine. So that's what's going to happen. If you don't get killed by the sword in the war, you're going to die by famine, right? And then again, that's what's going to happen. A time of great death, a time of famine, a time of war, calamity, chaos all over the world, man. This is the time of Jacob's trouble, right? So let me see if I want to bring out. It says here in Luke 12:49, I am come to send fire on the earth. And that's YAHAWASHI speaking. He has come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? It says the day of the Lord is going to be darkness and no light in it, man. Why? Because like I said, as if you ran from a lion, and and then afterwards you flee from a bear, and then you get bit by a serpent. That means that there's gonna be no escape, man. It's gonna be tribulation after tribulation after tribulation, chaos on top of chaos. That's what it means, that the fire is already gonna be kindled before Yahushua comes back. Okay, World War III, famine, death, pestilence is already gonna be established. It's already gonna be a regular thing on the earth, man. That's what it means for Jacob's trouble, right? It's not Jacob's barbecue, burgers and fringes. It's Jacob's trouble, meaning hard times, right? So it says here in Isaiah 13:3, I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even to them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of the multitude of the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustered the hosts to the battle. All right. So that's speaking of how the other nations are going to fight against Babylon the Great. They're going to send their nuclear missiles on Babylon the Great, man, while World War III is roaming. Okay. But again, it's the Lord putting that spirit on all those nations to press the red button, man. All right, and just before we get to that, let's go into an article that I have here pertaining to Russia and Ukraine, because you know that Russia, being the bear, being the feet of that beast, represents the end of this Edomite rulership. But the Russians are gonna put an end to the rule of Isa Edom. Okay, he's the base, and he's the end. He's a representation of Daniel 2, the feet of he's the end of the feet of brass and iron, and mixed with mire clay. Okay, iron mixed with clay. Okay, because in another beast, another image, it's that beast had a feet of bear, that which represents Russia. Okay, so when Russia is gonna send the nuclear missiles, these other nations are gonna send the nuclear missiles. Babylon the Great it's gonna end with Babylon the Great being destroyed. Okay, so it says here, in the Global News, which was published February 25, 2023. It says here, a look back at 1 year of courage, survival and war in Ukraine. Thousands dead, millions forced to flee, cities and towns reduced to ruins, a world on the brink of deeper conflict. The brink of deeper conflict. What's that deeper conflict? World War III. Okay, as it says in Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, meaning the woe meaning war, and this is pertaining to World War II. The second woe is past, and that behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The World War III cometh quickly. All right. A year after Russian President Vladimir Putin launched in his invasion of Ukraine, the war on Europe's doorstep is showing little signs of easing. So it's slowly increasing. Okay, after a whole year, this thing is not going anywhere, man. Okay, this conflict is not going anywhere. If anything, Putin's unwillingness to back down and NATO's continuing support of Ukraine is setting the stage for many more months, even years of uncertainty. Okay, which will eventually lead into World War III, man. Okay, this is gonna be one of the reasons, man. Also, I believe there's something happening with Taiwan. Let me look it up if I can find something about it real quick. Taiwan. I believe the U.S. want to invade Taiwan. I googled. So basically, the war between Taiwan and China, okay, the tension between Taiwan and China is the problem is that Taiwan is allied with the U.S. So if ever China goes and attacks and goes to war against Taiwan, the U.S. will have to retaliate. The U.S. will have to come and aid the China. And a brother can correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't really look this up, but it says here, why China Taiwan relations are so tense, and that was last updated March 30, 2023. So yesterday. Okay. It says here, differences over Taiwan's statues have fueled rising tension between the island and the mainland. Taiwan has the potential to be a flashpoint in U.S.-China relations. Okay. Summary. In the summary, it says Taiwan has been governed independently of China since 1949. By Beijing views the island as a part of its territory. Beijing has vowed to eventually unify Taiwan with the mainland using force if necessary. So the war is not out of the picture. It's not an option that is in the table. Slovakia, war is on the table. Okay, tensions are rising. Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen whose party platform favors independence, has rebuked Beijing's effort to undermine democracy. Beijing has ramped up political and military pressure on Taipei. Some analysts fear the United States and China could go to war over Taiwan. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi trip to the island in 2022 heightened the tensions between the countries. So basically, China wants to unify Taiwan with the country, okay? Wants to unify the country, and the fact that and they're willing to use force to do it, which would lead, like I said before, U.S. might take some military action in preventing these things. So again, the U.S. is already dealing with fueling and being backing up Ukraine in the conflict with against Russia, and now Taiwan is gonna ask for help. The U.S. is involved in many wars, man. As you can say, how do we say that? Proxy wars. They're not involved physically, but they're partakers in that war by financing it, by sending guns, by sending military help. They're involved in that war. Okay, so there's another let me see, another report pertaining to Israel and Syria. It says Syria reports, and that article was done a couple days ago, March 30, 23. It says here Syria reports casualties in alleged Israeli missile strike near Damascus. Okay. State media says that Israeli state media says that Israel launched a number of missiles from Golan Heights targeting the vicinity of Syria's capital. Israel launched a number of missiles from Golan Heights targeting the vicinity of Syria's capital, Damascus, that left 2 soldiers wounded and some material damage. Syria state's media report early on Thursday, citing a military source. Okay, so basically, Syria, it's Israel has sent missiles to Syria. Okay, and it says here in Jeremiah 49 and 20, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Edom. Okay, so this is pertaining to Edom. Okay, the counsel that the Lord has taken versus Edom, and his purpose that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their inhabitation desolate with them. Okay, so that's just saying that as America is going to be destroyed, Israel, the land of Israel, is going to be destroyed also. But the least of the flock shall draw them out, meaning that Israel is going to be the reason why America goes to war. The U.S. will go to war, man. World War III. Okay, in that sense, because Israel is gonna do something that's gonna lead America to go into war. Okay, to back them up. There's another precept. It says here in Jeremiah 50 and 45, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he will make their inhabitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, the cry is heard among the nations. So again, like I said before, Israel is gonna be one of the main factors why U.S. America, aka Babylon the Great, is gonna go to war. Okay, and just as I read before recently, just a couple of days ago, Israel has sent missiles in Syria. Okay, so now you have to put it in perspective. The U.S. is not directly, but is involved in the war in Ukraine versus Russia. Is involved in the tension in Taiwan versus China, and is now is backing up. Will have to back up Israel if they go to war. Okay. And that being said, uh, let's go into the. And that being said, if there is war, there is gonna be a draft. It's all prophecy, man. You know, there is gonna have to be a draft, man. The same way that these people are on the other side of the other side of the globe, they're drafting people already, man. They're already putting in the mind of the people, you'll get ready for war, man. You know, the smell of war, the it's in the air, man. It's not something that is unknown to these people. Only for on this side of the world that these people think that you know that they're in La La Land, man. You know, these people are not really paying attention to the signs of the times. And as it is prophesied, like I read before, the third woe cometh quickly, man. They're not mentally preparing for a time of destruction, for a time of war. And you know that war times is nothing sweet, man. Okay? So it says here, pertaining to the draft, let me bring it out. Pertaining to the draft in World War I, it says here, on May 18, 1917, Congress passed the Selective Service Act, which authorized federal government to temporarily expand the military through conscription. The act eventually required all men between the age of 21 to 45 to register for military service. By the guidelines set down by the Selective Service Act, all male aged 21 to 30 were required to register to potentially be selected for military services. At the request of the War Department, Congress amended the law in 1918 to expand the age range to include all men 28 to 45 and to bar further volunteering. The imposed conscription on all single men aged between 18 and 41, but exempt the medically unfit, the clergymen, teachers, and certain class of industrial workers. So so if you were in those times between in the time of the World War I, if you were 18, between 18 and 45, you were forced to enlist. You were forced to Salakia to what's the wording they said? They said you were forced to register for military service. Okay, and on World War II, pertaining to World War II, it says on September 16, 1940, the United States instituted the Selective Training and Service Act of 1940, which required all men between the age of 21 and 25 to register for a draft. This was the first peacetime draft in the United States history. Ministers and divinity students were exempt from service, but not registration. So you didn't have to serve, but you still had to register if anything were to happen. Consensuous objectors, CO, were recognized based on religious training and beliefs. So according to your beliefs and your religion, you might be able to be exempt from going to war. I think Muhammad Ali didn't go to war because of his beliefs, or something of the sort. You can correct me if I'm wrong on the comment board, but yeah, you know, some people pertaining to your based on your religious training and beliefs, you are not required to be member of historic peace church. So like you're not required to go to war, okay? And now in today's modern time, like I said, there is going to be a draft, man. The talk of draft is already brewing in the air, even pertaining to these women. You know, back then the draft, like I read before, was only for the men that were aged 18 and between the age of 18 and 45. They had to go to war, except for excluding some exceptions. Okay, but in this time, even the women are gonna be drafted, man. Some women will have to go to war. Okay, because now they fought for equality, right? But let's go into the 6 reasons in today's time that you won't be so like 6 reasons you probably won't be conscribed even if they bring back the draft in this present day. So the first reason would be obesity. Okay, so if you here's the biggest reason Americans can't join the military is because you're overweight. Okay, the second one would be education. Okay, the United States military wants its troops to have at least a high school education or equivalent. So you have to have graduated from high school at least to be drafted into the military. Okay, criminal record. 1 out of every 10 American adults cannot join the military because they have a criminal history. So if you're a criminal, Jake is gonna commit a bunch of crime to avoid going to jail, to avoid going to war, man. You know, it says here health problems. 32% of America's greatest natural resources, meaning you. You see how they talk about people, man. Greatest natural resources. Just say 32% of Americans, but they say the greatest natural resources have some kind of health problem that would disqualify them from having to serve in World War III. You see, they're already putting down World War III because it's already in their minds. It's just they don't want to tell the people, and they're saying that, and they're doing that as sort of damage control. Because if you're having talks of World War III, these people are gonna bug out, man. And people that are bugging out are less easier to control and to manipulate, man. So they're not gonna talk to you about World War III until it's in your face, man. Until they're prepared for it, man. Okay. So it says here, and pertaining to that, and those health problems is unrelated to obesity. So if you have health problems that are not caused by obesity, you might not be able you might not be forced to join the army in that time. And number 5 is drugs. The number of American youth who admit to use recreational drugs on a regular basis is enough cause for concern when it comes to military recruiting. But when paired with drug and alcohol abuse, there comes convictions for driving under the influences and drug and alcohol related charges. All these will render people unfit to serve. And number 6, unusual reasons. Even among the fit, drug-free, educated masses, many many will still be too short, too tall, have flat feet, or be the single parent of a minor child. All these reasons will keep someone out of the military in general. Right? So there's a couple of reasons that will exclude you from having to partake in the military in World War III. But you know that you don't want to be in that war, man. Okay? Because in that time, you know exactly who you're gonna have to fight. Because YAHAWASHI is gonna step in the scene during World War III, man. So you don't want to be in the field in that time, man. Right? You don't want to be in the midst of these heathens, right? Because what's coming onto them is destruction. Okay? Now let's get into it real quick, and then we're gonna come back and have a quick laugh. Let me see. So it says here in Revelation 12:7, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Okay, so the dragon and his angels is pertaining to Isa Edom and his military. Okay, he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Okay, so it says here, and they prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. So they weren't in rulership anymore. So after YAHAWASHI comes, he's gonna take them away from rulership, man. As it says, sit down in the dust, O daughter of the Chaldeans, daughters of the Chaldeans, daughter of Babylon, sit down in the dust. There's no more throne for thee, man. Okay, so after they fight with YAHAWASHI, they're gonna be defeated, man. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast down with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation. When YAHAWASHI steps in the scene and destroys the armies of these other nations, that were at the time, they were fighting against each other, but when YAHAWASHI steps in the scene, they're going to stop the fight between each other, and they're going to come together and fight YAHAWASHI, and that's when they're going to be destroyed. Okay? And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and kingdom, and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. Okay? And Isaiah is that accuser, he speaketh, what do you say? What's that precept? He accuses his own mother's child. He slandered his own mother's child, right? So it says here in 2nd Ezra 13:24, 2nd Ezra 13:29, behold, the day come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, meaning his elect, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. So all these people are going to be surprised, as it says, they're going to be in terrible fear, They're gonna be in terrible fear to see the elect being delivered, right? At the sight of the armies of heaven, and the sight of the chariots, the millions of chariots, they're gonna follow Yahawashi. When he returns on the scene, man. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, and one place against another, and one people against another, and one realm against another. That's the wars and rumors of wars that's going to happen on the earth before Yahawashi returns. Okay, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be dark times, man, before Yahawashi returns. All right? And it says here, and at this time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, when I shew thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. Speaking of Yahushai. When all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle that they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. So the Lord is going to put in the spirit of these wicked people, these other nations, that he's going to put it in he's going to deceive them into thinking that they can go and fight Yahushai. They're going to be in that Independence Day spirit, But let me tell you, Will Smith is not going to be able to help you in that day, man. Right? And Isa Edom is not going to be the hero in that day either, man. You're all going to be destroyed, as it says, but he shall ascend, but he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be shewed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven without hand. So I believe, I speak as a fool, I believe that at that time, while Yahushua appears, all the elect are gonna get beamed up as he appears and prepares to fight against these other nations, man. All right. So as it says, they're gonna be there, and Zion shall come and shall be shewed to all men. So all these people are going to see the deliverance of the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay? So it says here in the next verse, and this my son shall rebuke the wicked invention of those nations, which for their wicked lives are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are all until like a flame, and shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto me. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. So let me just get that over here. This is 13. I'm trying to get to the point. Yeah, Salakia. 2nd Ezra 13 and 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yes, durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held his sword, nor any instrument of war. But I only saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. That's the spiritual powers. That's the beam, the spiritual beam. The special beam cannon. That's a special beam cannon that the Yahushua is gonna send via his chariots. Okay. And it says here, and fell and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So Ezra was seeing the vision, and you have to put it in your mind, man. You have to the salvation, the things that Ezra saw at that moment. That vision was nothing. The vision that Ezra saw at that moment was nothing like what we see today, man. You see, it's gonna be the truth is stranger than fiction. Imagine UFOs, IFOs, identified flying objects, meaning the chariots of the Lord, many of them, Yahawashi pulling up, okay, and without even without even breaking a sweat, destroying all the nation's armies. Okay, they're destroying them, eradicating them to the point where there's only a smell of there's only dust and the smell of smoke, man. You know, the Lord is gonna zap them and destroy them, man. Vaporize these people, man. The armies of the heathen. That's what it means that there was no more. They were not more found in heaven. Satan and his angels were cast down, man. They were destroyed. Okay. So that being said, let me see. I had a quick video, but I get that, there's no point. There's no point, man. At the end of the day, man, these women are gonna be through. If they end up mandatory, if they end up having to force the draft on these women, man, they're gonna be through, man. At the end of the day, man. And like I said, you don't want to go over there, man. Through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, if the draft happens, man, through the spirit, we have to pray, we have to fast, we have to make sure that we don't end up on the soil of that battle, man. Because that at the end of the day, YAHAWASHI is coming back, and you don't want to be in the midst of these people, because we saw the end of what's gonna happen unto them, man. They're gonna end up as dust. And smell of smoke, man. That's their end. If you go into World War III, just know that you're not coming back. As I read before, the virgins shall mourn, having no husbands. Okay, all the men that went to war in that day, all the women that go to war in that day, they're gonna die. There's no returning, man. Like I said, that's the war to end all wars, man. YAHAWASHI is gonna put it in people's mind to understand that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is a true and living power, and there's no other. Okay, so like I said, these people that go to World War III, they're not gonna come back. All right. So that being said, I went into the draft. I went into the reasons why the draft would be, the reasons why you would be exempt from having to serve in the military in the present time. So Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. I hope you're edified. All right. So that being said, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'Hashem, Rahakodash, DTA, Baba Kwam Yashala, Shalom.